tier. 10 times as much. I was like, what? No way. I am not paying that. They get aggressive. Literally just cornered me. Just like threatened me to take my money.
Hello YouTube, it's your boy, the Passport Bro, Wingman, coming at you again with another YouTube video. And the title of this video is, Let's Scam Passport Bros, Gringo Tax Them, Says Some Foreign Haters. And the way this video came about was on Brazil Yesh's channel. I was watching a video in which he uploaded, in which it was some guy that had recently visited Cartagena. And pretty much to sum up the video, what happened was some guy was trying to peddle some salt and some other like items to him on the street, and he kept telling the guy, no, I'm straight, I don't want it, and it tried to like fend him off. You know, he did it in a very polite way. So of course, the guy kept pressing him, hey, I really want to sell you this is really good stuff, you need to buy it. And the guy again says, no, I don't want it, I'm straight or whatever. So they kind of follow him into the restaurant. So he's in a restaurant and he's telling them, I don't want any business, I don't want any of these products, I just want to eat the food in the restaurant. The guy says, no, please, I think you'll really enjoy it. You need to take it, you need to have it. So he said he got very uncomfortable because it was a guy and it was several other guys, and they were kind of pressing on him, almost like surrounding him at the restaurant. So he said he felt uncomfortable. So he told them, when he got done eating, he was going to buy it from him. He said just give him some time, and he would go ahead and do it. So the other mistake he made was he didn't ask them how much actually was going to cost. So when he got done eating, and he said it was like some type of salt or something like that. He took the salt from the guy. Then he asked the guy how much was it, and I don't think he had necessarily listed how much it was, but it was like an extraordinary price, even more than it would cost in the States for it. And so the guy was like, no, I can't pay that. I don't have that much on me or whatever. And he said the guys got really aggressive, like, no, you're gonna pay for this. They were surrounding him. So he said he gave them what he had, and I think he said he gave them almost like $80, $100, something like that. And then he said after that, even after he gave it to them, the guys was like, no, this is enough. You need to give us more. And he was like, we can walk you to the ATM if you want. He didn't describe what happened after that. I'm assuming that he left, maybe ran away or something after that. But the whole point of that video was I kind of wanted to address some of the little scams here and there that kind of happen overseas. Some things you need to be aware of and how to kind of stay safe. Keep from being scammed so that you have a wonderful time on your vacation. You don't have any issues. And let me just say that these kind of situations happen, put it this way, they don't happen that often. And what I want to do is, and what I want to say is that this is not something that happens over the course of the whole time you're going to be there in Cartagena or Colombia or Thailand or that kind of thing. It's like such a minuscule part of the whole experience that it's, put it this way, I don't want it to deter some of you or scare some of you from like visiting, traveling, that kind of thing. But however, I still want you to be safe. So I wanted to kind of address this. So let's get into this. So as you know, I mentioned the word gringo tax in the title because as you know, a lot of times when you go overseas, the fact that you're able to travel and pay for such an expensive plane ticket, some of the foreigners there, they know that you obviously have some type of money in order for you to be visiting the country, vacationing. So a lot of times there, because again, the economies there are not that great, especially in parts of South America, parts of Southeast Asia. So as you know, there's always going to be a small percentage of people there trying to get over on people, trying to make a little extra buck here or there, whether through scamming or some other means. So you should be aware of this, that in many cases, you need to be aware of that. For example, one of the biggest things you need to be aware of is the taxis. The taxis a lot of times. Whenever you take a taxi, make sure that you make them turn on the meter. When you get in the car, ask them, can they turn on the meter? If they refuse, few things you can do. You can either immediately get out of the car, or you can ask them, give you a price up front. And they'll usually give you a price. And a lot of times what you can do, sometimes at the airport, they'll actually have the prices listed on the wall about how much it should cost for a certain ride to like the middle of the city. So that way you got a good estimate about how much it should cost. And that way you kind of know if they're ripping you off or not. Me in general, if I do take the cab, as I said before, I either like them to turn on the meter or they give me a price up front. So that way there's no misunderstanding. There's no way they're going to drive up the price, or at the end of it when I'm about to get out, then suddenly they just give me, like, as I said before, like a gringo tax. But here's a good tip. This is what I do. When I'm in Colombia, Uber there is big. The thing I like about Uber is it immediately tells you the price of your trip. So there's no way, you don't have to worry about them doing a gringo tax. You don't have to worry about them hyping up the price. And the other thing is on Uber, you can see the direction of where you're at now and where you're trying to go. Because one other thing sometimes taxi cabs drivers will do is they'll go out of their way. For example, let's say if your destination is 1 mile away, what they may do is you get in the car and they go in a completely different direction to get there. They might go a mile out of the way and then come back in. So that way it's running up the meter, that kind of thing. And so that way you wind up paying more. So the good thing about Uber is that doesn't really matter. So if they go out of their way, I mean, you're still going to pay the same price. That's what I like about Uber. There's no way they can really gringo tax you. Now, keep in mind that technically in Colombia, it's supposed to be illegal, but it still works there anyway. And many people use it. And I think recently in Medellin, there was a protest because they were trying to, some of the cab companies were complaining because more people using Uber than that. I like the Uber because, again, you get to see they have a record of the person that's picking you up and, giving you the ride. As I said before, you don't have to worry about the gringo tax. You can also see the direction where you're going. So in my opinion, it's a little bit safer because I have heard stories about, and this is rare. This is very, very rare. Please do not, I don't want you to think that this is the case with all taxi cab drivers. Here and there, I did meet some cool taxi cab drivers. So I would say this: if you do go to a place where there's no Uber and you meet a taxi cab driver that's really, really cool, please, I would say take his number down, put it in your WhatsApp, keep it in your phone, because it's very nice when you meet a taxi cab driver that's honest and you feel safe with. Because there have been cases, for example, there was a case in Medellin when somebody they took a taxi cab. They were going out to some kind of club. The guy he was driving on I guess it was like an expressway. He went off the expressway into this area that was somewhat like wooden, somewhat abandoned. And the reason he did that was as they were driving the expressway, he looked over at the passenger. Passenger took out an iPhone, and he saw the iPhone. And so, so what happened was they pulled off the road. And he told the guy, hey, I just got to get something out of the car or whatever. So the guy stayed in the car. He got out of the car. He walked around to the passenger side where the guy was. He opened it up, and the guy said he pulled out a knife out of his boot. He pulled a knife out of his boot, and he told him to give up the phone. So of course the guy gave the phone, hopped out, took off running, that kind of thing. Now you might ask, why are people stealing phones and that kind of thing? Well, one thing is, technically, when you get your phone stolen and you call the company and they block it, what they generally say is nobody else will be able to use that phone because they're going to block the SIM card and that kind of thing. But pretty much they say that nobody is going to be able to use that phone on the network. But however, I think in South America they use a completely different network. So what I'm thinking is, they actually unlock the phone, and they're going to be able to use it on a different network in South America. Now, don't quote me on that, but that's what I heard, that they actually have different networks there. So that's one of the reasons they want to take your phone. And keep in mind that the average person makes about $500 a month in Colombia. So keep in mind that if they steal your iPhone and they sell it, let's say they only get $300, you're talking about almost a month's amount of pay. So they're looking for like cell phones and that kind of thing. And the pickpockets are really, really good in some of these countries. So you got to be very, very careful. Anytime I'm in an area where there's a lot of people and people can be bumping into people, as soon as somebody bumps into me, I immediately start touching my pockets, make sure that No one, creeped up on me, stuck their fingers in my pocket, took anything out. And in fact, I actually have this like secret wallet that I have that's attached to my belt. It goes down in my pants. So for someone to try to get my wallet, could put it this way, I have a dummy wallet, and then I have like a secret wallet in my pants. They would have to actually go inside my jeans deep down to actually get it. They wouldn't be able to do it. Now, the reason I have the dummy wallet is because for whatever reason, I just say I happen for whatever reason to get robbed. They want, and they want my wallet. That way I don't have to give them my real wallet. I can just give them the dummy one. I put like about equivalent of about $5 to $10 in there. So that way they think that's my wallet. I have like my college ID. So that way it looks legit. But I have my real ID, my passport, copy of my passport, that kind of thing, my secret wallet. So I encourage you, if you do go to any country, they have like belts. They have like these belts that you can put money in. That's like, so you can hide some of your money. They got like little pouches you can attach to like your thigh inside your jeans. As I told you before, they have like little secret wallets that you can have attached to your belt. I would highly encourage you to invest in some type of means of being able to hide your money properly on your body, not just in your pants. You will be surprised at some of the ways that they can kind of pickpocket people. There have been cases where with literally just their two fingers, the index and the middle finger, it was one guy I was watching on YouTube. He said the way a guy tried to pickpocket him was he had this little case where he was selling like cigarettes and stuff like that. And he kind of bumped into him, and he stuck his middle finger and his index finger in his pocket, and he pulled out his phone. But he felt it. He turned around, and he told the guy, like, hey, what are you doing? The guy acted like, oh, I didn't know. I was just bumping into you. So I said it to say you got to be very, very careful in these countries about anybody you don't know walking up too close to you, that kind of thing. As I said before, whenever somebody bumps into me, I'm always checking my pockets, make sure my phone, my wallet is still there. And in fact, I in general, I keep my I tend to keep my passport and my phone in a hotel. I have like this old phone with like a translator on it. I just use that in case, for whatever reason, someone was to pickpocket me or I left the phone somewhere. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. So let me get back into some of the other scams and things that you need to be aware of. Now I kind of touched on this a bit on one of my other videos, but let me say this as well. Because the economy is so bad in many countries, when you go to places such as Thailand, Colombia, I'm sure some parts of Brazil as well, because I remember in Cartagena, when you go to some of these countries, because the economy is so bad, some people there, they're going to have a larger incentive to be a little more pushy with you as far as selling things, because in a sense, it's kind of like their livelihood is dependent on it. So sometimes the sellers can get very, very pushy. For example, even in the DR, what they told me sometimes was if you go on certain beaches, because like their prostitution, that thing is kind of legal. Some of the girls there will actually approach you and, they'll ask you, do you want any company? And sometimes even if you say no, it's almost like they'll press you, almost forcing you to try to take them. Which is why when I went to the DR, I went to Santo Domingo, and I kind of didn't go to the beach for that reason, because the thing is, when I'm on a beach, I'm trying to relax. I heard about a lot of people trying to sell you stuff. And like I said, the girls really being pushy about you when you're just there trying to sit on a beach and trying to relax or that kind of thing. So here's some tips. So that happens there. Also in Thailand, when I went to Bangkok, sometimes the cab drivers are like really, really, like they'll see you walking and say, hey, where you going? Let me help you out. Let me help you out, man. And a lot of times I just avoid them because a lot of times whenever I travel, I tend to get my hotel in the area I'm not going to be walking around, so I don't have to pay for taxis. But they can get a little bit pushy as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give a few little tips that I think will be very helpful. And again, the only reason I'm telling you stories is I just want you to be aware. I don't want you to be fearful about traveling, because again, these experiences that I just listed are so minuscule. You're going to experience so many great things on your trips, meet so many warm people. Trust me, you will be missing out. You will be missing out not to travel just because of a few annoying, street sellers and a few little scam artists here and there that might be, trying to prey on tourists, that kind of thing. Please travel. Please get your passport. Do not let this discourage you. But I just want you to be safe. So, a few things. Whenever you go into a restaurant, whenever you go to a bar, always, if somebody just serves you anything, you immediately need to ask, how much does this cost? How much does this cost? Once I was sitting in Brazil, I was on Copacabana Beach. I'm sitting at a table. This guy came up. He put these peanuts next to me across the table. I immediately told him I didn't want anything. Here's the thing. When you're approached by sellers, you need to be very firm. This is not the time to be timid. I know a lot of times you want to be, we want to respect the people, be polite, that kind of thing. Usually in America, when you go in the store and somebody says, hey, do you need any help? You generally just say, nah, I'm straight. They leave you alone. They're not going to do that overseas. As I told you before, it's part of, to some degree, survival. So when you're approached by a seller, like the case in this guy, he approached me at the beach. Immediately told him, no thanks, I don't want any, I'm fine. He sat there again, looked at me. I told him again, no, I'm fine, I don't want any. You need to be very firm. You don't have to be aggressive, but you need to be very firm in telling them no thanks. Because again, any slight amount of being timid, in their mind, they're going to see if they can kind of push it on you. Worst come to worst, if you feel they're very aggressive, my suggestion to you is to get up from that restaurant, get up from that place, walk away to a place of safety. A lot of times in the tourist area, there's plenty of cops, that kind of thing. Walk somewhere by like the business owner, let them know that this guy is harassing you. You want to be left alone. Of course, they're going to escort the guy out because they want you to come back again. Do something in that case, but whatever you do, you don't want any timid response. You want to be very firm with them, firm but respectful. No, thank you. I don't want any. I don't want. Don't say things like, don't worry about saying things like I don't have any money, that kind of thing. Just say no thanks. I don't want any. I just came here for a meal. No thanks. I don't want any. Please leave. And just say that. And just leave it alone. Majority of the time, when they see that you're firm and they see it in you, that you're saying no and you're not intimidated by it, they'll just walk away. Another example, in Cartagena, sometimes on the beach, there's a group of girls that go around looking for massages. This guy was on the beach. Some girls approached him. And they said, hey, we want to give you a massage, $60, well, actually, they didn't say the price. They said, hey, we want to give you a massage. He said, no, thanks. I don't want any. The girl started rubbing him. She said, let me give you a sample. So he thought, okay, well, it's just a sample. She gave him the sample. After she got done giving the sample, then she said, oh, okay, you owe us, I think she said about $100. And she was like, but we can continue and give you the full amount for $200. And so she made a big fuss about it. I believe police got involved. So again, I'm going to emphasize this. When someone approaches you, you don't want their service, you need to be very firm in telling them, no, I don't want any service. Can you please stop? I don't want any. I'm fine. I just want to relax. I wish you the best. Goodbye. And you need to be very firm about that. If you feel uncomfortable in any way, you need to immediately get up, move away from that, find either a police officer or go to like the head of whatever business you're at. And you need to stay there so that they can tell this person to move away from you. That's what you need to do. Do not give them any sense of that you're somewhat intimidated, or that you kind of want the service, but you're not. In this case, the guy didn't say no when she gave the sample. So again, you don't want samples. You don't want anything to do with this. You just want to mind your business. If somebody keeps harassing you moving, I would say go into like a big store, like for example, in the case with the guy in Cartagena when they was asking about salt, I would have walked immediately into like a grocery store, clothing store, or something to that effect, and I would just start talking to like somebody there. Hey, I want to check out this shirt. Can you sell me something? And the guy is there. I would have just said, hey, can you tell him to go away? Of course, they want your business, so they're gonna tell him to go away. Now, you don't have to buy anything in the store, but my whole point is, it's a little creepy if you got this guy who's constantly pressing you. It's almost like he may want to try to rob you or something like that. So you need to be very careful. Other thing to be aware of. Other thing you need to be aware of. Random people just walking up to you, asking you for like change, asking you for directions. They look local. Be very, very careful about this. You don't know if this guy wants to rob you, or worse, you take out your wallet, he takes your wallet and he runs off. You just need to be aware. So the next big tip is, besides just being firm with your nose to sellers, also you need to be very aware of your surroundings. Always, if possible, walk in areas where there's constantly people walking. My tips in general when I go to places, especially in South America, as soon as nightfall comes, no more walking around. Everything by cab, everything by Uber. Only in the daytime am I walking around. Since then, I've been very, very safe. Southeast Asia is pretty safe. I've been out late at night, sometimes 2 a.m., 3 a.m. But again, even then, like it's for the most part, it's very, very safe in Thailand. But you never know. You never want to let your guard down. So if possible, even then, I would recommend taking Uber, taking a taxi, not just walking around late at night. Anything can happen. Southeast Asia is very, very safe. So if you're worried about South America and you heard a lot of stories, that kind of thing, I definitely would recommend going to Southeast Asia. As I said before, the main thing is this, to sum up a lot of this, because I know the video is getting kind of long. Just know, anytime you're in a restaurant or something like that, just know everything. This is a struggling economy. Nothing is free. Nothing is free. They give you anything. You always immediately ask, how much is this? If possible, whenever you go to a restaurant, make sure that you can find the restaurant on Google. Make sure it's not just some hole in the wall. If it is, be very, very careful. Make sure they can show you a menu, some type of prices. You always want to see prices if you can, so that way you're not getting the gringo tax. And places such as Thailand, and I believe even in China, a lot of times the price of something is up for negotiation. Don't just take the first price. They know you have money. They're gonna try to over price the items. And as soon as you show them you have a willingness to walk away, watch how quickly that price drops. So again, don't be intimidated to tell a seller no thanks. Be very firm in it. 2, be very aware of your surroundings. 3, always ask, how much does this cost? 4, in many cases, if it's a seller's market, you're out somewhere, it's not like a public store, never take the first price. Always try to negotiate if possible. And another tip, like I said, is always, if you can, take Uber instead of taxi. It's a whole lot better, I assure you. Safer. No gringo tax, that kind of thing. Now, I might make a part 2 to this because the video is getting kind of long, but I at least wanted to give you guys these tips, and just make you very much aware that although traveling is very fun, you're gonna have wonderful experiences. You still got to understand that some people are in survival mode. They're trying to survive. Even here in the States, whether you go to different states, that kind of thing. You still need to be aware of your surroundings. And although you're enjoying life, everything isn't sweet for everybody else. So you need to be aware that there are people out there that unfortunately like to take advantage of tourists. Because you think about it, if they were to rob you or do something to you, you're there on a short trip. You're probably not going to be there to prosecute them, that kind of thing. So for that reason, some of them may purposely target tourists because they feel like it may be easier to get away with certain crimes. In many cases, as far as some of the guys that may want to deal with, working girls, that kind of thing, working girls, that kind of thing. In many cases, if you deal with working girls in establishments, it's a little bit safer than it's safer than it is dealing with girls that are directly on the streets. The reason for that is a lot of these establishments, some of them are owned by gangsters, but then some of them are owned by like regular people, and they want you to consistently come back to their establishment. So they're going to make sure that you don't have any issues. The girls are not, for the most part, they're not going to, me to you and all this kind of stuff in these establishments, because they're trying to bring more and more business. Now, if you're out there on the street, you got to be a little bit more careful. Please use your street smarts. And again, a lot of times, in many cases, ask them up front for pricing, like how much it's going to be for 30 minutes of my time, hour, whatever you do. You always want to up front talk to them about how much their time is, that kind of thing. You don't want to wait till you get back to your place. They're going to quickly upsell. Now, I'm not saying that majority of girls are going to do this, but again, there's always going to be a percent of people that try to take advantage of tourists and try to give them a gringo tax. So you need to be very smart about this. And so I'm going to end on that note. I'll probably make like a part 2. But until next time, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the notification bell. Leave comments and tell me what you think. Maybe, there are probably a lot of tips that I left out. So if you know some tips that can help future travelers, please leave them in the comments to tell people what to do so that they stay safe. But again, don't let any of this deter you. You're going to be missing out a whole lot if you let these little small stories deter you from traveling. Travel, have fun, and until next time, brothers, this is your boy, the Passport Bro Wingman, signing off.